Good afternoon or good morning to some of you. My name is Bart Delusinne. I'm MD at KBC, Oaklins KBC Securities, and heading the Tech Advisory Group in Belgium. Together with my colleagues Jan and Frederik, I have the honor today to welcome you to our first in a series of webinars focusing on the ecosystems in the tech space. The series is the brainchild of the three of us, as we wanted to provoke a sort of reflection moment on how these ecosystems actually shape the way we work today and how these drive the M&A landscape, which obviously is of particular interest to us as M&A advisors. Today we are thrilled to kick off with the Microsoft ecosystem. A quick overview of today's agenda. So I will provide a short intro to the MS ecosystem, Oaklins, and our TMT franchise. Frederik will zoom in on our credentials in the MS space and provide an update on the M&A market. Afterwards, we'll interview our keynote of today. This is Cecilia Flombaum of Microsoft. Time permitting, we will be finishing off with a Q&A session. So we envisage to fly through all these topics in about an hour's time and would like to finish by 1800 CET. So I will keep an eye on the clock so as to make sure we monitor the time as much as possible. A few practical points. First, I would like to remind you, as you probably have seen, that this session is recorded and will be made available to the participants afterwards in a personal mail, as well as published on the Oaklins webpage. Secondly, you have the opportunity at any time during the webinar to submit questions by using the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen that opens up when you scroll down. So time permitting, we'll address questions at the end of the session, as said. Zooming in on the MS ecosystem, I don't think I have to introduce you to Dynamics, F&O, and Business Central, which actually recently have been grouped into under the MS Dynamics suite. So MS Dynamics, offers a comprehensive set of ERP solutions for both large enterprises, SMEs, and actually everything what is in between. The Microsoft ERP proposition has been actually a huge success given its modularity, the wide array of functionalities, but most of all, given the fact that they offer solutions that are very much operationally interlinked and based and allow for end-to-end business management. I think the best example of that is Power BI, the Power BI platform that actually has evolved into a very powerful and market-leading MIS tool. So no wonder that the MS solution stack is ranking very high in the league tables, as highlighted here on the slide, with a top position in the Gartner Magic Quadrant and very high scores in the IDC MarketScape analysis. This actually just to underline how important Microsoft has become as a leader in the ERP space globally. But actually the success has also spurred the consolidation wave amongst implementation partners, and especially in Belgium, the Netherlands, and Germany. We have seen a flurry of PE-backed platforms that continue to consolidate the market of service partners. Frederik will dig into that subject further in a minute or so, but this simply to underline how I would say relevant today's discussion is. As some of you might not know us already, I would like to provide a short intro on Oaklins and our tech advisory capabilities. Oaklins is an international mid-market M&A organization with 60 offices in 40 countries with about 850 M&A professionals. Our services span let's say, the traditional array of investment banking activities. However, our bread and butter, so to speak, are M&A sell side. We have closed around 7,000 deals over the past 6 years and have about 500 live mandates at any given moment in time. I think if there are two elements or features I would like you to remember about Oaklins and our DNA, I think it's first of all the fact that we are very deeply sector focused with 16 sector verticals that run through the entire organization up to the level of the individual offices. And secondly, very important is that half of our deals are cross-border, showcasing, let's say, the intense cooperation that we would like, that we foster throughout the whole of our organization. TMT is one of the most important sector verticals with a global team of around 65 tech M&A bankers who work very closely together, as you can see here today. Our TMT vertical covers media, telecom, and tech. And within the tech, we have a wide array of sub-markets that we cover, but software and IT services being the most prominent ones that we are active in. We close on average about 50-60 deals per year in the tech space, of which nearly half of which are cross-border. This brings us a very nice position in the league tables, both on the European level as well as on the German and Benelux side. So I would say enough for introductions. Let's plunge into the topic at hand. I would like to pass the floor to Frederik. Frederik, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Bart. Pleased meeting everybody today. I have a few slides just talking about our experience in the Microsoft ecosystem and some trends and valuation perspectives from a market perspective. Before we're then heading over to Cecilia Flombaum and Jan Hatje to take the perspective from the Microsoft side, what's actually happening. So Bart just said, just showed a little bit our TMT track record and also rankings in the league tables. Much of that is underpinned by transaction in the Microsoft space. Here just see a selection. I think we have been active everywhere around the modern workplace, managed services, business apps, especially where we've done a lot of work. As well as recently around the cloud service provider side of the ecosystem and around Azure. Some notable transactions that have just closed or are just about to close. We just represented this company called Oaklins, the largest and last sizable Microsoft-focused managed service provider in the Dutch market, 100 million of revenues. To a new large platform called Building Beyond Technology, new platform company backed by Isolate Capital, purely focused on Microsoft, and now having around 2,500 professionals already. They rapidly consolidated 3 firms and are about to do a lot more. We represented the majority shareholders of HSO. A former portfolio company or about to be a former portfolio company of Carlyle in teaming up with Bain Capital. HSO, I think, one of the leading players in the Dynamics 365 space, generating around 500 million of revenues. And I think also the example of a great platform consistently delivering over 20% revenue growth year over year. And that's on an autonomous basis, and that's not including excellent acquisitions they've performed as well. And then Jan on the call, just we cannot announce a name yet, but we're very excited. In the Germany market, we just sold an SME-focused Microsoft cloud service business, generating 30 million of revenues and an astonishing 25% year-over-year growth. To a new private equity-backed platform, especially focusing on cloud services, about to be with the ambition to become a unicorn. We're really excited about the deal and also to announce it when we can. but especially at the cloud services side of the business, we expect a lot of deal flow over the next 12 to 24 months. Being active for a long time in the space, I think we have a lot of insights in also the relevant key value drivers, and also where the true buyer appetite is. Maybe highlighting the long-standing presence in the space. We can go to the next slide. Just digging in a little bit on HSO. HSO was our start in really looking into the ecosystem. That started already over 10 years ago when we started working with the founder on what his strategic objectives should be. That initially resulted on a standalone growth trajectory of around 3 to 4 years. And at that moment, they had built up sufficient skill in Europe as one of the early adopters, I think, and the leading players in Dynamics. At that moment in time, they had to become a global play, which was then considered adding the US to Europe. And we carefully selected a financial sponsor that could back him in that challenge. That resulted in a partnership with Carlos, can be seen on the slide. Amazing journey in 6 years. They jointly realized 6 acquisitions, growing revenues 400% and EBITDA over 600%. I think, and also Cecilia may talk a little bit about it, but also an important partner for Microsoft. But they're not done yet. I think 6 years ago, global was considered Europe and US. Nowadays, it has to be global. Is going to include LATAM, more south of Europe, more north of Europe, and also the APEC region. So it was time to move on. So again, there was a process which now resulted in a new partnership with Bain Capital, bringing deeper resources in many aspects, financial, operational, and also to help them on a global scale. Carlo was the perfect partner digging into the US. Bain is going to bring them all over the globe. For us, very exciting. This is what we like to do. Working long time with founder-owned companies and companies in general, realizing their ambitions. Looking at the deals we've been talking about and what we see happening from a market perspective, and I'm a little bit humble as Cecilia's here, so she really knows what's going on. But if you look from the market perspective, what do we see? We always look at complexity and lock-in. We see the business apps, and combined with data AI power platform. Bart was a little bit talking about that. We see them. We still see them as the most complex, also creating the strongest lock-in and capturing most of the value. Then followed by Azure and the modern workplace managed services space. So that they'll come back on valuation, but that's also where you see the valuation flow going from high to lower. Depending on product, Dynamics 365 as a global product, international delivering is becoming more and more important if you want to serve the largest and the most complex parties, also where you can capture most of the value. I was talking a little bit about autonomous growth already. I think in the IT market in general, we see that the quick buy and builds they're from the past. Everyone is truly digging into whether there's autonomous growth potential within a company. It's relatively easy to build buy and build capability, but to build autonomous growth engine requires long work, strong culture, deep long-term investments in innovation also within a company. And the ones that show strong autonomous growth are also considered to be the leaders of tomorrow. That comes in a little bit with size. I mean, you need to invest nowadays more and more to become bigger in the quality of your organization. Life's getting a little bit tougher out there. So you need to be ahead of the pack. But you also need your investments in your intellectual property. I mean, there is a layer of vertical IP nowadays, still a differentiator. So probably in the future, it's going to shift a little bit, partially that may be replaced by some more high-level agents created by firms themselves. But the locking in the verticals is very important. Then also in the ecosystem, what we see is that personnel is also here. It's scarce. In order to grow, you often need an initial project. Your project, you need people. So the ones that can do the initial projects the most efficiently can actually then turn customers into long-term recurring customers, or can turn the most customers into long-term recurring customers. So you need to invest there in your standardized project delivery to be able to grow faster than the companies around you. And then the last point, and that's where Jan and Cecilia will talk about as well, but where we really see a shift. I think 6 or 12 months ago, everything where we could say there's some AI in the proposition, it would be platinum coated. Nowadays, it's a threat as much as an opportunity. I mean, but the ones that really know how to apply it best in their companies are tomorrow winners. And it's not about applying. I mean, AI. It's like a complete organizational change that you need to be able to go through with your company. So this is what we see happening in the. It is what we see happening in the market over the past years, and then taking this link a little bit to the valuation side of what we see happening. I think overall what we see is that valuations are still below the all-time highs that we have seen in the period 21-22. However, they have stabilized at what we still believe to be very highly attractive valuation levels. If you look at valuation drivers, look, we just discussed quite a number of them. They're all important. Also here it comes down to where are your recurring revenues? Do you have client churn? But also often an interesting one where we're looking at when we're also in the Microsoft space is what's the client maturity and still like some kind of migration potential with your clients. I mean, you often like a client not to be so mature yet in what they've adopted because that drives a lot of potential to do future business and to really help them to transform to be a winner of tomorrow. We spend a lot of time uncovering that, so it's one of the things we work on with the clients most of the time. Then looking at the valuation that we said, you see the brackets following the complexity of the business. We see the modern workplace, managed services firms in the total bracket, like 70-80% of the deals between 9 and 11 times of EBITDA. Then more going to the cloud services 10 to 12 times, but we see that shifting a little bit upwards lately. And then for the business apps, data, power platform type of place, we see most deals happening between 11 and 13 times. And often, always there's an individual company, maybe something different, but this is where most of the deals are happening within those areas in the ecosystem. Then wrapping up. Overall, we see we still assess the Microsoft ecosystem to be a highly attractive ecosystem to be active in and to invest in. Overall, IT services, digital transformation, market growth remains consistently high, and Microsoft is a clear winner in that market. Many opportunities, smaller ones and bigger ones, also driven by a significant number of companies that are now already owned by private equity. that have been acquired around 2019, 2020, 2021. There's a natural exit window coming up there. There's a selection of those companies on this slide. So we're excited about what's happening. I think all those opportunities coming to market are worthwhile to assess, and we hope to help you to give you some guidance on how you can best assess those companies, so you can spot tomorrow's winners and make a great investment. So I think that's also a nice moment to hand over to Cecilia Flombaum and Jan Hatje to give the inside perspectives coming from the market. So thanks for your time today, and pleased to hand over.
Thank you very much, Frederik, for this comprehensive overview of the market. I think before we start with the interview, Cecilia, you have also some views to the market and prepared some slides, and maybe this is an intro. But we have with us Cecilia Flombaum, which is now since over 20 years with Microsoft. So therefore, she has seen the development and the growth of a company over more than 2 decades, and can hopefully share many insights with us, which will evolve, or which will show the evolvement of the Microsoft partner system, where she now is developing the agent ecosystem lead, and can show us how Microsoft partners need to position themselves. But before I speak too much, maybe Cecilia can hand over to you.
Great, thank you. Thank you for having me today. Yeah, so as a quick introduction, my name is Cecilia Flombaum. I have been in Microsoft almost 25, actually. 25 years, and almost 20, I'd say 19 in this space of business applications, which was always a very interesting space of Microsoft, maybe a little bit less scalable than the Office business that everybody knows of Microsoft, and certainly our cloud platform business that has been so pervasive and viral, if you want, across the world. With business applications, we grew steadily, but slower. But what's funny about this part of the business, which is certainly my favorite one in the company, is that it's become so strategic when it comes to artificial intelligence and what the impact that AI will have in business processes, in business outcomes. So we'll talk more about that in a minute. But I am now doing a role in the engineering team, so in the part of Microsoft that actually makes the products, but as an ecosystem lead. So I get to have maybe more strategic impact than before, where I spend most of my time on the commercial part of Microsoft and very fiscal year focused. Okay, so let's just go through my slides, just basically to set the stage. Because I've been in this company for so many years, and in this division, in this part of Microsoft for so many years, I have seen what software did for processes, for things that were done in paper, for digitalization of business processes, right? And software definitely has changed the world from how we worked 20, 30 years ago to how we work today. That change has been made by software. But really what's happening now is that AI is changing software. The way software is made, the way we imagine an application today, all of that is being pretty much reinvented from the ground up. And when we talk about AI, I know many decision makers get quite nervous. I personally try to talk to a lot of customers, and really what customers want to know, well, that's a very good, trendy word. I understand, it's incredible. I can go to ChatGPT and Copilot and I can see how it helps me prepare a dinner or solve a problem at home. But at the end of the day, what is AI going to do for my business? What extra revenues can I expect? What increase in productivity can I expect? What reduction of costs can I expect with AI? And that is what every CEO wants to know. And that will bring us to the role of partners, which is what we are going to discuss today. So the impact of AI, we believe, is going to be felt in 3 ways. two that we know and one that we don't yet know. One is the general employee productivity. What is that? That is how we build reports, how we build presentations, how we do pivot tables, how we do PowerPoint presentations, how we write emails, how productive we are at work with Copilot telling us what did we have to do today and keeping track of all my to-dos and my tasks, summarizing my meetings. That's like the employee productivity. We know that a lot of the impact on AI will be there. The second, and this is where kind of we come in maybe in the division that I'm in, is process improvement. At the end of the day, every company sells something, whether it's people's time or products or some kind of services. How are we going to sell more? How am I going to spend less? How are we going to ship more product? How process improvements at the business process level. This is going to be the second very big area and the one that I'm the closest to. And the third one, like every technological revolution, we don't yet know. There will be things that will be created. 30 years ago, we didn't really imagine having a device that we call a phone where we can pretty much manage our own life. This was created by the cloud and mobile revolution. Okay. We don't really know what more new experiences are going to show up with AI, but we know that they will. So that's the world that we're going into, that we have started living maybe 2-3 years ago, and that is transforming the ecosystem. So with that, maybe we can start with our conversation, Jan.
Great. Thank you very much for this quick intro. Before we dive into the question and discuss especially the development of a partnership, if I see your page, then I fully agree with many things of which you had said, but looking then to the questions of new products and that nobody can foresee, we have seen in the past the iPhone moments, but we have also seen the Nokia moments, meaning a successful company which was gone in a moment. Do you think that AI might accelerate these developments and that we might see these big switches of company influence in the future?
The AI transformation will be much faster than the cloud transformation. Because in the era of software, we had software on-premise, and then we had to move to the cloud. And honestly, especially in my area, in business process and in business applications, we're still moving. SAP has tens of thousands of customers on-premise. We still have thousands and thousands of customers on-premise. So that transformation started more than 10 years ago, and it has not yet fully realized. We think the AI transformation is going to be equally impactful, if not more, but much faster, because just what happened in 2 or 3 years already pretty impressive. There are tons of startups right now on AI, and there's definitely big players racing to invest as much as they possibly can on the infrastructure required to power these AI models, but also on the innovation and the performance, particularly the performance of AI, because at the end of the day, AI behaves very different. It's not your deterministic outcomes. AI operates in a world of probabilities and approximations. So we need to fight this war of accuracy and getting as close to great, stable, predictable results as we possibly can, because, in business, that's what we need. So there's tons of investments in the big ones, and there's tons of startups. So yes, some will fail, or really not fail, but disrupt in a good way, and some will consolidate, like what happened with Nokia. But in my leadership team, we talk about when the iPhone or the phones, with the Android phones, when the phones came up, we got used to a world where for everything there's an app. There's an app for everything. There's an app for the train. There's an app for the planes. There's an app for everything with the bank, everything we do. In the world of business, in the world of AI, we are going into a world where there will be an agent for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I will come back to the point of the development later, but let us start more in the past. How has the Microsoft partner strategy evolved over recent years? You are very long with the company, so you have seen quite a lot.
a lot. Well, so we, many, many years ago, partners were very transactional. They saw themselves as resellers. And remember, we in a way, we have boxes that needed to be installed, implemented. We have moved away from that in a big way. Partners are now a lot more complex. They are solution-oriented partners. They are financially, they look at everything they do from software sales almost in a little corner that is nice to have. But most of their business comes from their own value added, whether it's their own intellectual property, the most times address industry scenarios, vertical scenarios, and I would say the service offerings, which really deliver customer success. And with Microsoft, we followed in many ways, and we transformed our entire program and incentive structure, infrastructure, if you want, into programs that measure customer success. At the end of the day, the only metric that really matters is usage. It's like customers are using what they buy. And we assume that if customers use what they buy, that is because it's delivering the results that we promise in the sales stage, which we, present and promise a lot of outcomes. So one of the most transformational things we did at Microsoft is complete redesign of our programs to measure customer success and measure our partners by customer success. So right now, that's kind of the center of our universe. Now, moving forward, we will compound on that to start introducing more AI-driven metrics. There's one thing that has never changed, and I think it won't change, which is, especially in business process, we have always asked our partners to pick some industry specializations that they represent, sometimes with very strong IP, intellectual property, sometimes with service specialization, and sometimes with both. That won't change. And our best partners have done that, and have done it very well.
Yeah. So is this the best way to position myself as a partner in the Microsoft world, or what can I do to increase, let me say, my position within the ecosystem? What are the tasks? We've spoken about AI, but you've spoken also about customer success. So it's enabling the customer, the most important thing?
Yeah. So, I mean, for us, it's a combination in terms of positioning as a successful partner in our ecosystem. It's a combination of being able, in the Dynamics ecosystem, partners do sell a lot on our behalf. We rely on our partners to do a lot of the selling, because our partners, because they have been so successful in specializing on verticals and industries, they are best positioned to talk to a customer about their vertical and industry problems. Mm-hmm. So actually, we trust them to lead many ways in the sales process, because they know best those industry processes that customers are looking for. And in many ways, when partners fail and they don't do a good job, it's because of that reason. It's because they try to sell in a vertical where they don't have track record, enough experience, or IP. So that is, critical. Partners selling is something that we look at, of course, which is the impact on revenue, and then usage of the products that they sell is the other metric that we pay attention to. Now, we also obviously surround all of that with technical capability. This is not just it's always a full picture of being a great partner in our ecosystem. It's delivering success, it's selling, but it's also certifying your technical professionals and demonstrating technical capability. But one of the things that we've been seeing with our best partners, and Frederik mentioned HSO, you had Altitude, you had some of our great partners in your list. They have all also followed the expansion across the Microsoft Cloud, because when a partner does a good job in business applications, especially in ERP, it's almost like giving someone your heart. You give someone your heart, you can give them your arm, your leg. When they gain the trust of a customer in the ERP workload, it's very likely they are very well positioned to then talk about data and AI with our analytics solutions, talk about even some modern work based solutions, talk about some custom development for custom application solutions. So our partners, our best partners, also differentiate themselves because they go beyond business applications and they actually have capabilities across the entire Microsoft cloud.
Yeah. As you know, we are investment bankers, so our job is to sell and to buy companies. And sometimes it's the reason it's a simple succession, but often it's also private equity business buying into the industry and buying when we are buy and build or building when we are buy and build big platforms. How do you see this potential concentration of partners? On the one hand side, yes, we are getting bigger and getting more technical capabilities. On the other hand side, I can also imagine that with a certain size, they are getting more important also for your own development.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very close to many of the private equity firms that are acquiring Dynamics partners that have become like a ad hoc consultant for private equity lately because there's so much interest. And what I see in terms of expansion, and if you call it consolidation, because some of it is organic growth and a lot of it is M&A, it's either an expansion of capabilities, and it could expand in two ways, either the Microsoft, well, actually three, in expansion across the Microsoft cloud. So I'm seeing a partner that is business applications buying a partner that does, for example, Azure-based development, or analytics or AI. There are boutique companies that are more born in AI, and those companies are in high demand as well. So that's one in expanding technical capabilities. The second one is expanding industries. So you're very focused on professional services, and you open up another vertical by acquiring a partner that is in another vertical. So very similar, but another vertical. And then the third one, which is maybe the case of HSO that Frederik was mentioning, is global scale, right? Doing a region and expanding globally. Those are the three things that I see when partners get an injection of investment and they are looking for rapid growth.
Mm-hmm. Consolidation has two impacts. The first one, obviously, size. The second one is also technical skills. And you also spoken about the development of products. I think in the past, most Microsoft IT service providers were IT service providers, meaning they help with implementation, etc. In the meantime, they are developing their own products. Is this something which you're also then trying to not only push, but also to try to then deliver on a more global scale in terms of that you are helping then these companies to sell their products via your own ecosystem?
Yeah. Well, so let's talk development and then let's talk helping them sell. First, development, yes, 100% that the industry vertical specialization comes with the need for IP. Now, remember, what is the IP of the future? Really, the IP of the future will be a collection of agents and automated business processes for the most part. So there is this IP, I'm going to say, app that used to exist. We think those apps are going to evolve into being agent-driven experiences, but the core need and the core value proposition doesn't change, which is they're addressing a very specific vertical business process. Yes, all our programs are going to pivot that way. How to build an agent, how to deploy it, how to manage it, how to secure it, how to tune it, how to test it. All of those things are absolutely a big part of our ecosystem investments. And the second one, how to sell. This has always been a really interesting one for us. Partners, we are lucky because the Dynamics ecosystem is such a collaborative ecosystem. Our partners are very used to working together. And we have a lot of community events. Partners have plenty of opportunities to meet. And we're also evolving our marketplace to help partners publish their solutions, get the solutions discovered, and transact their solutions through our marketplace. That marketplace also assists our sellers because all those solutions come to our own systems and CRM systems and everything for our sellers to discover solutions that they can plug into their deals.
Yeah, great. Obviously, Microsoft and all of your partners are very deep, heavily into businesses and business operations. We just have yesterday seen the new Alexa Plus presentation from Amazon. Do do you think there are different companies with different agents, with different scopes, or do you see, maybe not in the next year or in 3 years, but in 10 years or whatever, then the one agent who serves it all, so the very personal assistant, or will the agents be always different?
I think the agents will follow business processes. At the end of the day, we have to remember that a job needs to get done. A seller needs to sell, supplier needs to manage suppliers and orders, a financial analyst and a CFO needs to manage cash flow and transactions and close the balance sheet. I mean, the outcomes don't change. The agents are going to help getting that done faster, quicker, and sometimes even more accurately. So we have to remember that in this universe of, we say, every person will have a copilot, which is like your personal assistant, helping you find things, get ready for things, take notes, get your to-do list organized, prioritized. In every business process, we'll have an agent. In this world of business process, I anticipate every business process company to invest in agents. Salesforce, Workday, which already made announcements. Well, they all have made announcements. Workday, SAP, us. The difference with Microsoft is that we will be always open and integrated across our entire Microsoft cloud. Our agents are going to be the ones that will run on the open platform, welcome any model, whether it's the Anthropic model or the ChatGPT model, the OpenAI model. So welcome any model. And connect in an experience both the productivity aspect that we talked about when I started and the business process. So what that means is that experiences in our agents will cross over seamlessly from Office and something that starts with an email to all the way to something that gets done or executed in an ERP system or a CRM system. And this is always going to be the difference with Microsoft, is that we're the only company that has the breadth of technologies, from the infrastructure to the productivity apps, which is what we call Microsoft 365 and Office 365, and business process, all integrated in the same platform. And we are very partner-centric, which will always prompt us to be open and extensible for partners to build on top all the experiences they can imagine.
Right. Obviously, we will not talk about bad things about potential competitors, as we're also doing a great job. But do you think that these points which you mentioned are also then your competitive advantage against the SAPs and the Mondays and whatever in this world, so that having this partners and having this very maybe 360 degrees approach is what makes you better?
Different, unique,
yeah,
for sure. Our partner-centric approach is, I believe, a competitive advantage. We trust and rely on our partners to deliver experiences in multiple vertical scenarios, and that will not change, on the contrary. But also the integrated nature of the experiences that we can provide, but also the openness. For example, we are the only business applications vendor that is exposing our applications into this model context protocol. It's an open protocol for any agent to connect to. Other business applications companies are not doing that because they have more to protect in a way, because they are pure players of ERP or CRM business applications, whereas Microsoft, with the integrated stack of technologies, can actually do these types of things. So we will always be more extensible and more open and extremely partner-centric in our approach, but also extensible for our customers to build their own experiences, whether they buy them from a partner or they get help from a partner. I think that's what makes Microsoft unique and different. Yes.
Thank you. We've spoken much about the general approach to the market and the development, but maybe coming, and this is obviously a home grow, but coming to the business applications and how they are changing. You have spoken about increase in productivity, reduction of costs, and etc. But how does obviously AI is the reason for that, but how does AI is transforming the business applications?
The best way to so business applications, yes. So I was going to go to the experience, but maybe I'm going to talk about the application itself, because I think that's just so interesting.
Yeah.
The first thing is how users interact with an application. We do so many things that we don't know that we're so used to doing. We open an application, whether it's Outlook or Excel, and we go File, New, and we start formatting, and we click here and click there. And we're used to interacting with any application, whether it's an ERP system and entering a new customer, a new order, a new invoice, whatever it is, or it's Excel and we are opening a new worksheet. We are going into a world where the UI that will welcome us to the application is Copilot. And we will actually tell Copilot what we want to do instead of clicking several times to get something done. So first is the UI. Copilot will be the user interface for applications, and that's transforming the application itself. The second thing is, and our partners will recognize this all day long, which is workflows. I mean, when we really implement an ERP or a CRM solution or any custom build application, we start designing a process. First, you do this, second, you do that, third, you do that, and then you build it. You build it in the tool, you build it in the application, and that's the process. If you have to change the process, it's a huge thing because you're changing for everybody, or you need to create a parallel process, or agents are the new workflows, and agents will execute dynamic workflows because they will do this in this scenario, they will behave in this other way in this other scenario, and they will be able to execute multiple workflows depending on the case. With this customer, with this product, the process looks like this. With this customer and this product, the process is a little different. Today, when you need to code that in a static application, that's a huge thing. So we are redesigning Dynamics 365 so that workflows are executed by agents, and agents are dynamic and execute dynamic workflows that actually follow the business needs. They learn, they adapt, and they start learning that when things look like ABC, then my process is 1, 2. But when it looks at things like RQ, RZ, then the process is different. And the agents know. And so that fundamentally reshapes how you design an application. And then the last thing, for anybody that knows software, it's a world of tables, and those tables get connected. Data becomes knowledge, because all that data that exists gets reasoned over. There's context that gets taken into account. There's track record, there's past experiences, there's trends. All of that transforms data into knowledge, which the difference is that data is not static, it's just being reasoned over. So when you put it all together, it's really transforming how applications are being built in the future of AI, which is really a collection of agentic experiences, automated experiences.
Also, 1 or 2 critical questions, even if I think all of us are AI believers and do like it very much. But is there not the risk that in the future, which you have described, agents or the co-pilot agent will write another co-pilot agent in another company an email, and this co-pilot agent will answer, and that we do have an agent interaction without any human touch? And obviously, what does mean that to the human workforce? So what do you think about that?
I do think that there will be an impact, and agents will interact with agents, and they will be fully automated agents executing processes that replace what humans used to do. But remember, Excel replaced what humans used to do in a big way, because all of those calculations were done manually before Excel existed. So I do think that that's going to happen. I also think that human ambition and human creativity will also invent and create things we don't yet know. And actually, there's somebody in the product team that talks about the Lion King movie and how the first Lion King movie was done with the original cartoon-like experience. And that, took 500 people to do. And you would think, oh my goodness, with technology, all that can be that automated. Yet the new Lion King, that was an animated movie, took 5,000 people to do, not fewer, but more. Why? Because the bar was so much higher. We needed to achieve more. We needed to deliver a different experience. So there were new jobs. There were new creators, new designers. So I do think that, yes, will happen. Definitely agents will do some of the things that humans do today. And there will be new things that we can't envision that will be also created in parallel, where humans will play a critical role. And, there's so much decision making, verifications, approvals. At the end, I think companies will be able to do more with the people that they have.
Great. Another people-related question. Coding and software development in the past years were an art, obviously, and where the human resource who was able to do something like that was thought very much. With AI and the potential of AI developing code by itself, how does the software development has changed within Microsoft with AI?
Dramatically. Such a great example. Absolutely. AI is developing software already, especially at the entry level. However, we need more data scientists than we've ever needed. We need more designers, because with that experience that the agent needs to execute needs to be designed. So we need more designers now than we needed before. We need more data scientists to do experiments, because remember this, like I said before, these agentic autonomous experiences, they're a little bit less deterministic. If this, then that. We need to iterate a lot more. This thing called evaluations, they need to be done a lot more. It's a new form of testing, if you want. So for that to happen, we need a ton of data scientists that do a lot of modeling and a lot of testing and a lot of tuning to get the most accurate responses possible. Because we will go into a world where there's productivity and there's accuracy. We know we can gain a ton of productivity, but it doesn't really help us if that productivity causes a lot of errors that then humans need to go and fix. So the automation that agents will deliver also need to be accurate, especially in the world of business. You need orders to be accurate, shipments to be accurate, financial statements to be accurate. So as agents come in and start automating and doing wonderful, fast things we couldn't imagine, the result needs to be good. So all of that gets achieved with more people doing things than we needed before. So yes, software development is changing, but we're also creating new functions that are badly needed right now.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Yeah, there are a couple of questions of the audience which I will drop in. Then from my side, my last question for you, which we touched already a lot. But what will be the Microsoft ecosystem of the future, and how this let me say, how this to lock in the customer and to really keep him on all of his journeys, how to achieve it?
Well, I mean, we will always talk to customers about our strengths. Like I said before, I mean, customers that bet on Microsoft, even in the area of Dynamics 365, they know they're not just buying an application, they're investing on a platform. And that's the difference between us and maybe others. It's just we're so much more than just the application. So we do see a big trend everywhere, especially with customers that come visit us every day here, of CEOs and CIOs thinking, was best of breed the best decision, or is best of suite the best decision? And we see a trend going back that AI is actually helping, because you get the most out of AI in an integrated stack, if you want. We see CEOs coming to the best of suite. Now, that causes obviously consolidation in the ecosystem as partners are trying to provide services and IP across the entire Microsoft cloud. And that, I mean, we will continue to see that trend. There are some questions here that I think I connected. I'm looking at the Q&A. And do we see that as a threat or an opportunity? We see that, of course, as an opportunity. I mean, when partners can deliver integrated experiences, and remember, customers don't necessarily like buying from 10 different partners when they're trying to solve a problem. And so we will continue to encourage or support consolidation. We're very free market when it comes to our partners. We kind of let the ecosystem develop the way they develop. But we are right now, given the consolidation, aligning a lot of our resources around some of the bigger partners as a result of those consolidations, and our programs are aligning there as well. However, AI is also helping us serve our partners, and we will have a lot more programmatic support for new partners, for partners that are starting, for smaller partners, and agent-led experiences also to deal with our programs and with our metrics coming up as well.
We cannot cover all the questions which were raised by the audience, but let me grab two which I really like. If you were a Microsoft partner starting fresh today and you just said new partners, what was the first thing which one should focus on?
I always tell partners, pick a lane. And sometimes that lane is a market segment. Sometimes it's an industry and a market segment, but especially when you start, it's very important to pick a niche to specialize. I mean, that's just marketing 101, really. And then after that, it's technical skills, of course, and go-to-market investments. It's your step 1 and step 2. We have step-by-step guidance for all new partners that want to invest in our ecosystem. Now, of course, I am a little bit biased, because I would say to any partner that wants to start, focus on business processes or data. I think there's a lot in the data part, because a lot of companies have multiple applications, multiple systems, and their data is not in great state. AI eventually, I think, will address that. But right now, a customer that doesn't have their data in a great state will suffer when trying to adopt AI to reason over that data. So data partners, I think, and obviously business applications partners, I think those areas are going to be the most transformational in the years to come.
Last question before I hand over to you, Bart. Most of the big service provider and system integrators are focused on one technology, like Microsoft, for example, or SAP. Do you think this is the right path for them, or should they develop also own capabilities in different set of technologies and becoming then more, let me say, more open also to other ecosystem, as you mentioned by yourself, that you would be also, as Microsoft, a very open ecosystem?
For partners, that's hard to pick two different players. I don't think that's a good strategy. And I'm not saying a partner needs to pick Microsoft, but I think that's going to become increasingly difficult to justify the customers, but also difficult just to build skills and build offerings and build IP. It's a diversification, but not in a good way. It'll distract focus. So I do think partners need to pick a player, to be honest. Either SAP, Salesforce, whatever, but pick one, especially because every one of these companies is investing in their own agents and their own agent experiences. It's going to be hard to be in multiple platforms.
Yeah. Will this be changed if this is a complementary product to Microsoft, so that it can be more easily integrated into your own workflows?
Which one?
For example, something like ServiceNow or Snowflake or something.
So it depends on what level of integration. So absolutely, from a platform perspective, we do integrate with SAP, we integrate with Workday, with obviously Snowflake. I mean, from a cloud platform perspective, absolutely. But in a way, yes, that diversification works. If you are a partner of SAP and you're selling SAP on Azure as a platform, no problem at all. But you're really selling SAP and then the benefits of Azure as a platform. That's your lane. That works. If you're selling business applications and you want to be in the SAP ecosystem and the Microsoft ecosystem at the business process level, I think that's hard. Maybe, obviously, our global system integrators, the Accenture scale or PwC or EY, they do it, but they have a massive, massive scale that allows them to have very, very concrete and defined practices. But for a mid-size partner, that's going to be a harder thing to manage.
Great, thank you. Bart?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, I had a bit of problem with my mute button. I would say thank you very much, Jan, for interviewing Cecilia, and especially thank you very much, Cecilia, for your very valuable insights. I think the participants today really appreciated, I would say, on one hand, outside-in view that we are able to bring as advisor, but especially the view from the kitchen that you provided us with. So very much thank you for that. I took the liberty of jotting down a few highlights for myself, which I would like to share with everybody here today. Maybe they're not fully congruent with, let's say, the highlights that every participant had highlighted for themselves, but I still wanted to bring them here as a way to close the whole discussion. I think, first of all, I jotted down here that the MS ecosystem fully embraces AI, and as you said, Cecilia, I mean, you don't see AI as a threat, quite the inverse, but look at it as an opportunity. That said, I mean, it's a tremendous opportunity that I would say shakes the world. I mean, Jan talked about the way that it could change human interaction. So that's clearly is a way that that's gonna shake the world. It will also continue to feed through the whole of the MS ecosystem, from the users up to the service partners, and I would say that MS tech stack itself, as you said, that itself, the tech stack evolves gradually towards a platform for agentic experience. And that said, I think the IP focus that I think Frederik mentioned in the beginning, that partners focus on and have implemented will gradually move towards a combination of agents. So I think that's a very, very important element. As you, I think, said 100 times, I mean, the ecosystem of the future is AI first and agentic, meaning that service partners that focus on AI integration and agent development itself will lead the market. But that said, I think the conclusion that we have as advisors is also that service partners will play an increasingly important role in that ecosystem. And I would say win the heart, as you described it, Cecilia, of their customers. I think ending up with a positive note, I think, Cecilia, you described the ecosystem of Microsoft of the future as a one that nurtures innovation by cooperation and knowledge sharing. You clearly highlighted their open protocols, connectivity as key focus points. And I think on that positive note, I would like to say goodbye to all of you. I think on behalf of all of us here at Oaklins, thank you very much for your interest in the space and your participation today. Thanks also for the people who have submitted questions. It was most helpful. A bit sorry that we were not able to address all of the questions, but Jan certainly picked out, I think, the most relevant ones. That's the end, I think. Jan, Frederik, and myself, we are very much looking forward to hosting you again soon on a new episode of this series of webinars that we actually have kicked off today. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this one already. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.